Welcome back to another episode of Chris Rocket Podcast. I, of course, am Chris Rocket. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the Julius Randle trade rumors. Going to give you a little bit about that, different places where he fit and whatnot. And we're going to talk about the NFL playoff picture. You know, we're in that second half of the season. You know, we're going to talk about who I think will make it, who I think won't make it, and what bad team is going to stay bad and what bad team is going to actually, pick it up towards the end. We're going to talk about that. And then in NBA, we're going to talk about the 50-point challenge, who won last week, and the guys who we all picked this week. How did I do in NBA picks? And, of course, how do I do reactions and predictions from the NFL? We're going to start off with the Julius Randle trade rumors, which I guess sort of died down a little bit. But, you can't really run away from the fact that they have pretty much a log jam at power forward. You got the emergence of Kyle Kuzma, who can play a stretch four. You have, Luol Deng right there, who, you can kind of put him right there. And, Julius Randle, for a long time, he just his personality really doesn't, fit that team. To me, I like him as a player. I like his attitude. I like the way he rebounds. He's their best rebounder. To me, he's their only rebounder because anybody else, they only get rebound because of length. Lonzo Ball, he's athletic. He's getting rebounds off athleticism. Julius Randle, he actually gets in there, boxes out, and he's going to go get the rebounds, not just basically just relying on his athleticism to get rebounds. Because once that's gone, what do you have? That's why Zebo is continuing to rebound like he does. He doesn't have the hops like he used to. I don't even think he really had elite athleticism, but his technique and boxing out is what keeps him around, and I think Julius Randle is that kind of guy. Now, me personally, let's just take attitude out of it. Let's just look on pure talent. Rebounding, can run the floor, can handle the ball a little bit. Where does he fit? Of course, with my Mavericks, who need any kind of rebounder that they can get. I think he'll fit with us, but that Dwight Powell is right there. But, you ask yourself, in a 30-minute, if you play each guy 30 minutes, Julius Randle's going to give you about 12 boards. Dwight Powell's probably going to give you 9 boards. But Dwight Powell plays hard every single play. Julius Randle, he might take out 2 or 3 plays. So, it's almost like a wash. And then you pay Dwight Powell. You're about to pay Julius Randle. You see where that comes in? So I like Julius Randle for us, but I don't want to pay Julius Randle, if that makes sense. You also look at a team like Sacramento. I think he'll be perfect for that team. They're young. They run up and down the floor. He is a perfect for that team. You look at the different pieces around him. Zach Randolph is over there, so Zach Randolph's going to show him, the things that he knows. You know what I'm saying? And I think that'll be a perfect fit over there. I wish I would have just went over this with Nisha, because she would have had at least 7 teams right off the top of her head. I'm literally combing through the league to see where he fits, because he fits everywhere. But we talking about great fits. You also look at a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder. The kind of attitude they have on that team. You lose Sabonis, and you lose Cancer, so you kind of got a hole right there. Patrick Patterson, I don't know, he's sort of like the odd man out to me, even though he plays some decent amount of minutes. But you put in a guy like Julius Randle on that team, I love it. Now the question is, who are you going to trade for to get him? I have no idea. But I like him on Oklahoma City Thunder. I also like him on a team like Milwaukee, but they got Jabari Parker. But you can't have enough talent on a team. You put him over there, and I guess depending on who you are, who's going to come off the bench, you anchor him on that bench. You now have one of the best top 5 teams in the NBA. And yes, I'm saying that. One of the top 5 teams in the NBA. And the question is, who do you trade for? You're probably going to have to give up a good bench piece. But it might not cost you a lot. It might cost you a couple first-round picks, but if you're Milwaukee, you really don't care about that because you have your core right there. So For a 1 year rental, I'll take that. If you're Milwaukee, you also look at a team like Orlando. They're hot right now. You got to wonder how hot they're gonna stay. You trade a guy like, I don't know, you trade Maurice Spates or something like that. You know, just give a little to take a little. Maurice Spates will be perfect for the Los Angeles Lakers. Add to that stretch for you move Brook Lopez down low. You stretch Space out. You have so much flexibility. You can put Space at the 5. You can, Kyle Kuzma at the 4. You just spreading it all the way around and let Lonzo Ball just kind of meander through the paint. I like that. And of course for Orlando, you get rebounding to go along with Vucevic. Vucevic has been killing on these threes. He's actually surprised the hell out of me with these threes. So you put Randall down low. Now you have 2 low post guys, and you also have the potential for both of those guys to stretch the defense. You let Elfrid Payton do what he do. You let Aaron Gordon do what he do. I love him for the Orlando Magic. Actually, I love him on the Orlando Magic more than anything, due to the fact that they started out so great. And a guy like him, you can actually sustain that at least a little bit, at least all the way down to probably like the 6th seed. Because now you have a bona fide rebounder along with Vucevic. And you also add toughness to that defense. Might foul a lot, but I like him right there. So hopefully he doesn't get traded, because I like him over there. But if push comes to shove, I like him on those teams. Or Orlando. Hopefully he goes to Orlando. Like, the question is who you trade for him. It'll have to be Space and somebody young. I don't think they'll give up a guard, because the Lakers have enough guards. So maybe they get a guy like Hazonia. Maybe they give up Fournier, which I doubt, because Fournier is balling right now. But it'll be interesting. To the NFL playoff picture. Very interesting. You look at this list, and when we got to like week 5 or 6, I'm looking like, there's no way these teams are, going to stay what they are. But here we are, week 11. And, this is probably around the time where it's like, you are who you are. If you're this, you're going to be this. Hence, the Minnesota Vikings, they started 5-0. I think either last year or the year before that. Started 5-0. Ended up, 8-8? Eagles started 3-0. And they ended the way they ended. Looking at this playoff picture, as you can see in the NFC, Philly, obviously number 1 seed. Minnesota, number 2 seed. Let that sink in. New Orleans, number 3. The Rams, the 4th seed. And then you have the 5th and 6th seed. You got Carolina, who's playing lights out right now. And then Seattle bringing up the rear. And look at those teams in the hunt. Atlanta, Detroit, Green Bay still holding on for dear life. And my Dallas Cowboys, which I can just see them just fall out all entirely due to this. I mean, if they don't get help, but I'm digressing. I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, look at that. You want to talk about a very interesting playoff? Each one of those teams right there. Seattle, the only one that has won a Super Bowl within the past 4 or 5 years. So there's a chance there might be a first-time Super Bowl who haven't been there in more than 10 years. You got Philly right there. I think the last time they've been was 2005 or something like that. Minnesota. When was the last time they've been to a Super Bowl? They almost went to the Super Bowl in 98. So, way before that. New Orleans. I think New Orleans was 05 and I think Philly was 04. Somewhere around there. Either way, more than 10 years. The Rams. It's been ages since they've been there. Carolina, they won a few years ago. But they're going to look to win. And, of course, Seattle, they won a few years ago. You look at that. That makes for a very interesting playoff series. And each of them are very familiar with each other. I'm anxious to see if the playoffs started today. I will be definitely plugged in to see that. Even though my Cowboys won't be in it. I think it's better than just being, Des Carter. You feel me? In the AFC, as you can see, some of these teams don't surprise you. Pittsburgh, New England, Kansas City, they started out great. But then you look at this, Tennessee with the 4th seed. Jacksonville is holding on right there in that AFC South. The AFC South is looking pretty nice right now. Even though Indianapolis isn't, where they want to be, but that team is competitive. And then the Houston Texans, I mean, unfortunately, injuries played a part of it, but that is a good team. You look at that, man. Buffalo, I don't know how long they can sustain that. They going with a rookie quarterback now, so I don't know how long they're going to hold that spot. And then you look at the team that's coming up through the rear, Baltimore, Oakland, Miami, and the Jets are half game back of that 3 group right there with Baltimore, Oakland, Miami. The key is that 6th seed to me, because I think Jacksonville, with the running game that they got, with the defense they got, I think they can hold that spot. Buffalo, to me, it really just depends on, can Peterman actually bus drive his way all the way through? If they play 500 ball, I think they can squeak out that 6th seed. Otherwise, Baltimore get their act together. Oakland finally plays like we expect them to play, get that 6th seed, and actually, get hot at the right time. But Tennessee, that AFC South is going to be interesting. Tennessee, Jacksonville, and we got to see what Houston's going to do. Maybe Tom Savage actually, propels that team to at least make it interesting. But it's a two-team race in that AFC South, and I'm very excited about that. Actually, I'm very happy for those 2 teams, because those are 2 teams that people really high on coming into the season. Jacksonville finally got their act together. I still think they need to rectify that quarterback situation to really put them over the top, but it's a start, damn it. It's a start. And Tennessee, they just need to keep doing what they're doing. And, I mean, look all around, man. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, I know, like, teams go through different eras. You're going to see teams fall off. You're going to see teams come up because they got young players. Those young players are actually, playing to their potential. Draft picks are actually coming into fruition. Everything is fitting together. New coaches bringing their ideas. So there's going to be a change of the guard, so to speak. And, of course, a lot of the old quarterbacks are going to retire. New guys are going to come in. But I don't think my mind is ready for this shit. I don't think my mind is prepared for Tennessee and Jacksonville to make the playoffs or to win a division. But it's going to happen. These teams are great. And I could guarantee you in about 2 weeks, this whole list is going to change. Especially in the AFC, with the AFC South battling out. And, of course, Buffalo, we got to see what Nate Peterman is going to be doing. But he has weapons, so he doesn't have to do too much. He has a nice running game. So we shall see, along with this very interesting NFL playoff picture. Hopefully my Cowboys can put it all together. Maybe not. I don't know. But coming up in the Chris Rocket Podcast, we're going to talk about the NBA. How did my picks go? Who won the 50-point fantasy challenge? What we're going to pick this week? You have been listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast.
Read the incredible self-help book that's rewriting the rules on addiction. It's the hot new addiction everyone's talking about. It's sex addiction. Finally, you can shove personal accountability straight up your ass. Leonard Etcher's remarkable 13 Steps to Heaven.
Hi, I'm Leonard Etcher. Everyone's talking about it. Nobody knows what it is. Now, thanks to 13 Steps to Heaven, here's your chance to join me and become a fully blown sex addict. All the glamour of personal problems without health risks or loneliness. Guys, let's be honest. The difference for most men between being a sex addict or not is opportunity. My book will explain the myths and realities of sex addiction in an honest and easy to understand way. I'll teach you how to juggle multiple partners at once and blame your complete lack of morality and personal accountability on an addiction that doesn't exist.
Pick up 13 Steps to Heaven today.
At Fly US, your business is important to us. That's why we treat you like shit. We know you have a choice when choosing an airline: awful, dreadful, or terrible. And we promise you, we're striving to be awful. Fly US. Sit back, relax, and shut up.
Welcome back to the Chris Rocket Podcast, and the 50-point fantasy challenge was accomplished by the great Nisha Derricks. We almost had two. Roy had selected LeBron James. I'm trying to see what day was it. I think it was Friday. Well, I think it was Thursday. Let me check. It was Thursday. Thursday, LeBron James. She picked Friday. Giannis Antetokounmpo gave her 62.9 points of fantasy points. LeBron James gave Roy 44 points and had 9 turnovers, man. So if he only had 3, he would have been over the top, man. Unfortunate, man, because Roy's been on a tear. Matt had Thursday. Russell Westbrook gave him about 32 points. And of course, I had Nikola Jokic. He only gave me about 32 points. So I'm in last place again. All right, so this week, who do we pick this week? I pick a very safe pick. I picked Friday's DeMarcus Cousins. Kill picked the other compadre Friday, Anthony Davis. Z, he picked Wednesday's Kemba Walker. Matt, he picked Friday's Russell Westbrook. Roy, he picked Kevin Durant for Thursday, which is tonight. Nisha picked Wednesday's Ben Simmons. I'm not going to reveal the results until next week. I don't know the results. So, I'm going at it blind right now. So, we're going to be interested to see who is going to win the challenge. Of course, this is our individual. This is very optional. So, it's not really a competition. It's just for fun, as I always state. Now, how did I do last week in the picks? I think I did very well, man. I went 5-1. I almost went perfect, but I'm not tripping. And I also won for the month of November. I'm number 1. I'm 9-2, barely on top, but I'm excited. I'm glad. I get to win something, damn it, because I haven't had much luck. For the season standings. Let's see, as I quickly meander, because I'm doing everything on the fly, you feel me? For the season standings, I'm picking 65%, and I'm happy with that. 65%. And the leader right now is Roy, 17-6, so I'm not too far behind. As a whole, we are picking very well. Everybody's over 500. We have a lot of us picking, 60% or more. Look at Tony, 60.9, along with Rogers. Roy's picking at 74%, Kill at 60%. I'm picking at 65%, Z picking at 69%. We all doing a good job, but I think that's what really matters around here, man. Like when you assemble, 12 of the greatest, sports minds in the nation, man, this is what you get, and hopefully I can stay on this tear and really just dominate this whole month, because November is my month. November 1st is my birthday, so I dominate this month. Right now I'm picking at an 81.2% clip this month. Of course, Roy's right behind me, man, 8-3. So I gotta really pick it up. This week is a fairly easy week. A lot of people are picking the same teams, but that's what happens with national televised games. You get a lot of no shit games. You really start to get really competitive right around Christmas. So I got to take advantage of this opportunity, stay above 60% as much as I can, because, when you're around 65%, that usually gives you a top 3 spot, and that's what I want to be. Last year I won, so I'm just trying to get top 3. This week, Wednesday, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Charlotte Hornets. I picked Cleveland. At some point, they've got to get their shit together. And Charlotte has been balling. We got to see, what kind of team is going to show up for Charlotte. It's going to be a dogfight. By the way, I'm doing this on a Wednesday, so I don't know the results yet. So, and I think that just bodes well for, the analysis. You feel me? So I got Cleveland in that game. Hopefully they get their shit together. They really need to work on rebounding. Dwight Howard's going to have a field day because there's nobody there that can combat him unless they put LeBron at the 5 or Kevin Love can actually bully him or whatever. But they're going to definitely need some rebounding for that game. I got Cleveland against Charlotte. Philly versus the Lakers. I got Philly barely. The Lakers have a lot of scoring from everywhere. You got Kyle Kuzma, you got Lonzo Ball, you got Jordan Clarkson, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Brooke Lopez. You got scoring from everywhere, but they're not consistent. Philly, you got Ben Simmons, who is consistent. You got J.J. Redick, who is consistent. Joel Embiid. You have consistency over there. You know what you're getting in Philly. So I'm going to go with the more consistent team. I got Philly in this game. Golden State versus Boston. Boston has been very hot. 12 straight wins. You got the masked Kyrie Irving. I really want to pick them to beat Golden State, but Golden State has way too much firepower over there. They got a little bit more defense over there. I got Golden State in that game. Houston against Phoenix. I'm going to obviously pick Houston. Just way too much firepower over there. So they're going to outscore them by a lot. If this is a shootout, that's right up Houston's alley. I got Houston. And on Friday, we got OKC versus the Spurs. I got Oklahoma City. I think the Spurs in the early part of the season, they just kind of just do it enough. And then right in the second half, boom, that's when they pick it up. So if you're going to beat up on the Spurs, this is the time to do it because they're going to pick it up in the second half. And I think this is one of those games where Oklahoma City takes advantage of just that. I got Oklahoma City. Then you have New Orleans versus Denver. Those two-headed monsters with DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis is going to be way too much for Denver, even though Denver has the people who can match up against them. They have a lot of guys, a lot of strong guys. Kenneth Faried, Nikola Jokic, Hernan Gomez, Wilson Chandler. They can actually guard these guys, but just way too much offense. Rajon Rondo is going to come in, create. Jameer Nelson, the veteran, he's going to shoot. Way too much offense for that in that front court. I got New Orleans. Hopefully this week I can just keep going. I do feel like this is going to be another good week. I think that Philly Lakers game is the only game that I'm worried about. Everything else, I just think, I guess you could say I'm worried about Cleveland, but we all pick Cleveland, so I'm not going to lose ground if I lose that game. But the Philly Lakers game is the game that I'm worried about because, if the Lakers play to their potential, I think that'll be a blowout, but they're just way too inconsistent for me. So hopefully another good week for my NBA picks. I'm doing quite well right now. Everybody's doing quite well, and we're going to continue that. Coming up on the Chris Rocket Podcast, we're going to do NFL Week 10 reactions, Week 11 predictions. You'll be listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast.
It's time to take your weight problem seriously. It's time to stop pussyfooting around with so-called lifestyle changes. It's time for surgery today. Don't wait a minute. Don't try other methods. Try the GastroBand. Don't for 1 second think you can do it on your own. We both know you can't. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten into this mess. Get real about your weight problems and your complete lack of willpower. Give in. Get surgery. Get out. It's the world we live in. Slice and dice your problems away. Then you can look like other people. Have the GastroBand inserted today and watch your weight and problems melt away. Finally, you can be happy like normal people. It's time to put down the knife and fork and go under the knife and scalpel. Give up and get thin. GastroBand surgery. Remember, surgery solves everything.
Who gave you the pot? Who? Spanking creates an atmosphere of fear. Waterboarding creates an atmosphere of terrified respect.
Please waterboard me, sir.
I wouldn't be here today if my parents hadn't smacked the shit out of me on a regular basis. Teach your kids respect. The government-approved way.
Thank you, sir.
Buy my book. Hitting Kids works wonders today.
Week 10 in the books. How did I do on my NFL picks? I did pretty decent. By my standards, I did pretty decent. I went 9-5 last week. 64%. You know I like to stay over 60%. For the season, I am 64%. The winner last week, or the winners, it was 4. It was a 4-way tie at first place. We have Roy, 11-3, balling. You have Nisha, finally winning first place for the first time this season. Congratulations to her. You have Tony with his second win. And you have my bro finally getting the first place love this week. 4-way tie, first place. Good job by everybody. Second place, we have Rogers. We had Matt. We had Kill. We had Z at 10-4. And of course, myself in third place, along with Mitch and Jay in third place. The leader still is Z, man. Z is still up there, man. 99-48, 67% clip. I am right behind him. I am right behind you, Z. I am coming up. I'm going to take that spot, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to just trickle. You feel me? But good picks around for everybody. This week, we got Tennessee versus Pittsburgh. I'm going to pick Pittsburgh, even though Tennessee has been playing very good lately. Pittsburgh, way too much for them. Way too much for that defense. I got Pittsburgh. Detroit at Chicago. This is a very obvious game. Chicago, not enough offense to combat with to keep up with the Detroit offense. I got Detroit. Jacksonville and Cleveland. Jacksonville's defense is going to overwhelm Cleveland. This is a very obvious pick. I'm going to pick Jacksonville. An interesting game. We got Baltimore at Green Bay. I picked Green Bay because I think Brett Hundley has figured out how to throw to his receivers. You know, you can tell that the offense is finally kind of slowly catering to his ability. I still think they need to run him a little bit more instead of just trying to make him like Aaron Rodgers. If they run him a lot more, they will win. But I got him in this game because Baltimore is very inconsistent to me. Until they find a possession receiver, a true possession receiver, their passing game is going to be flat. Now, there might be times where they can throw the ball deep consistently, yeah, but you can't do that every single game. Teams are going to just play back. You already don't have a very reliable running game. It's potentially a really good running game, but, you know, there are going to be times where teams be like, okay, you want to try something deep? All right, do it. And they're going to try to call your bluff. But Baltimore is very inconsistent to me. I think Green Bay slowly figuring out their running game, even though their running backs are kind of banged up a little bit, but I think they're going to pull it out. I got Green Bay. Arizona at Houston. I have no idea who's going to be the quarterback for Arizona. I do know who the quarterback for Houston is, and he does just enough. He does enough to where it convinces me that Houston might squeak this game out. Either you're going to be Blaine Gabbert for Arizona. If it is, you know, even though they got great receivers. But I got Houston in this game. Tampa Bay and Miami. At some point, Tampa Bay is going to show what they really made of. Miami, I still think they're trying to find themselves life after Jai. I got Tampa Bay in this game only because they have a better defense. If this is a defensive game, Tampa Bay is going to win, and I think that's what's going to happen. A very good game. We got the Rams against the Vikings. I got the Rams. Just way too much offense. This is going to be a shootout. The Rams are going to put up some points. They're going to outscore them, even though Minnesota's going to make it very, very competitive. I'm going to go with the team with the better running game. Going with the Rams. An obvious pick. We got Kansas City versus New York. Kansas City, no-brainer. We're going to just keep it moving on that one. Washington at New Orleans. This is going to be a very interesting game. But New Orleans, they're hot right now. 7 straight wins. I think they figured it out. The running game is just amazing. Kamara, Ingram. Well, for Washington, you know, they're dealing with injuries right now. It's just unfortunate. They don't have a running game like that or a dependable running game. So New Orleans is going to take advantage of that. I think they're going to win. Buffalo as the Chargers. I had Buffalo initially, but then they're switching their quarterback to Nate Peterman. So I am switching to the LA Chargers. I'm picking the Chargers in this game because I have no idea. I have no idea how Nate Peterman is going to look in this game. He could potentially do enough to win this game because he has the weapons. He has Benjamin. He has Jordan Matthews. He has a good running game in LaShawn McCoy. But I don't know how he, you know, I have no clue about Nate Peterman. I mean, I've seen him come out of college from Pittsburgh, but I have no clue. I have a lot of clues about the Chargers. Chargers are a good team. They just happen to lose a lot of games very close games. If this game is close, I think Buffalo has a chance, but I just don't know enough about this team. Cincinnati at Denver. At some point, Brock Osweiler he's connected well with Emmanuel Sanders. I think Denver is going to figure it out. Brock is a familiar territory. Cincinnati to me is inconsistent. I'm going to go with Denver in this game. New England at Oakland. I'm going to pick New England because Oakland to me is something's up. They might be the Atlanta Falcons of the AFC right now. What the hell is going on with that team? Who knows? Their defense is really letting them down. The defense doesn't have not one interception this year. Not one interception. Yeah, an NFL team, 10 weeks in, don't have an interception. And I thought our secondary was bad. But yeah, I got New England in this game. Sunday night game, we got Philly against Dallas. I initially had Dallas, but then no Sean Lee, possibly no Tyron Smith. I gotta go with Philly. As much as I hate it, I gotta go with Philly. Philly's the more healthy team. Now, if Sean Lee played this game, I would have went with the Cowboys easily. But no Sean Lee, that means a lot of points on the board for Philly. You do not want to make that team much better offensively. I'm going with Philly in this game. And the Monday night game, we got Atlanta at Seattle. I don't trust Atlanta, even though they won last week, but we all know why they won last week. I got Seattle. Hopefully, I keep the trend going, 60%. Keep afloat with the top spot, man, with Z. This might be a week where the standings shake up a little bit because there's a lot of toss-up games this week. But hopefully I get 10 wins. I want 10 wins. My goal is always get 10 wins because that guarantees you a 60% week. So far this year, I only had 3 weeks with less than 50%. One of those was actually a first place finish. So I'm going to continue to be above 60%. Hopefully I do well. Hopefully everybody does well. That's what I like to do in these picks. As a commissioner, I want to make sure everybody, everybody picks well. And of course everybody does because like I said, we're 12 of the greatest sports minds in the nation. You feel me? So that's all the time I have. Very short show. In and out, you know what I'm saying? Getting ready for my got the news I'm moving to San Antonio, but that's in a couple weeks. But really getting the place, situated because I'm a guy, man. When it's time to move on the day of, I'm already ready and I'm already excited, hell. But next week, my boy Joe Killmeyer gave me a great idea on top players, best players from each team: quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, tight end. We're gonna do that next week, a special Thanksgiving episode. It's gonna be a long episode because I'm gonna be talking long-winded about each and every one of those teams. Shout out to Killmeyer for that idea. We're gonna talk about that next week. And of course, predictions and reactions for the NBA and the NFL. I might just do. It's gonna be multiple segments, man. Probably 4 or 5. We're gonna do a segment for each division: North, South, East, and West. So there's 4 segments right there on the topic of the best players from each team. And we're going to do reaction and prediction from the NBA and the NFL. So that's 6 segments, man. You get 6 segments from me on the special Thanksgiving Day episode next week, man. So, be prepared for that. Hopefully my day will, I will make your Thanksgiving. Of course I won't. Hopefully I won't intrude on your Thanksgiving dinner because, hey, if you're listening to me on Thanksgiving, then your Thanksgiving probably sucks. But if you do, hey, I appreciate you. All right, so I'll see you guys next week, man. You have been listening to the Chris Rocky Podcast. Have a nice week, and I hope the Eagles die Sunday night.